Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the latest edition of the ATCK with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of ATCK.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. If you're watching us on YouTube, please give us the 5 thumbs up and please subscribe. If you're listening to this on any of our audio platforms, please give us a 5-star rating and please download this episode and more episodes. I'm thrilled to welcome our next guest today. She's a singer-songwriter, and as of this recording, she has over 351,000 Facebook fans, 876,000 Instagram followers, and 1.3 million TikTok followers. You may have also seen her on a little show called The Voice, where she was on Team Kelly Clarkson, and her music has been featured on ABC's Nightline. So please help me welcome Kelsie Watts to the podcast.
Hey, Jacob, how are you?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you so much for taking time to schedule talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. It's gonna be great.
Alrighty. So, when did you get interested in performing, and how did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in the music industry?
It's gonna sound incredibly cliche, but I've been singing since I was 3. Like, straight up, the first video we have, I was in Looney Tune pajamas, like sitting on my fireplace, and my parents had like the old school, video camera, just singing away, and they were like, "It's gonna happen." And so there's always, ever since I was little, I always wanted to be a rock star. I didn't even say a singer. I was like, I want to be a rock star. And so it's just kind of always been like in my DNA. It wasn't ever, I've never had like a plan B or, if this doesn't work out, it is just my life. So I've just always wanted to be a singer and loved writing, and just kind of molded me, and it's just really it.
Absolutely, Kelsie. That, believe me, when I was a kid, I always had, my folks and I created they had a huge box where we transformed into television because I wanted to be a reporter on television. And on one side it was Phil Donahue, the other side was Oprah Winfrey, and the other one was Jesse Raphael, and then me.
I love that. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
It is. So we both have similar, but I'm also a huge lover of reality television, and many of my audience members recognize from both the final Fox season of American Idol, which was in 2016, and The Voice in 2020. So why decide it was time to audition for The Voice after competing on the final Fox season 4 years later?
So, fun fact, I actually had a producer reach out to me for the season of The Voice. They reached out and said, "Hey, we would love to bring you to LA, do an in-person audition, see if you would be a good fit for the show." And so went out to LA, did an in-person audition, and they decided to put me on. So it wasn't even something that I was necessarily looking for. I've always thought The Voice was really cool, but especially after American Idol, I wasn't like, "Oh, let's do reality TV again." But it was also during COVID. And as an artist and just a full-time singer, we all lost our jobs, just like everybody else. And so being on The Voice, especially during COVID, not only provided stuff for me as an artist and musically, but also provided a job for a little bit, for a few months. So that was definitely a blessing that I didn't expect to come along. But yeah, the whole reason that I went on the show is because the producer reached out, and I was like, well, might as well give it another shot.
And you had a great journey too, because the thing is, you opened up with probably one of the most gutsiest and ballsiest things you could do was sing a coach's song. So you did "I Dare You" for Kelly Clarkson, and not only did she turn around, but Gwen Stefani turned around as well. So what did it mean to have Kelly first and then Gwen?
I mean, especially to have the artist of the song turn around, I was like, oh, thank God. It was a massive relief. I knew going into singing that song that it was going to be either really awesome or really not awesome. But either way, I knew they were probably going to put it on TV. So I was like, well, here we go. Let's just take a risk. And whenever you start singing, I mean, their backs are all turned to you. And especially during COVID, we didn't have an audience. So it is just the 4 coaches and you. And it's like the most stripped down audition in essence. And so you're putting yourself out there, but you're not getting any like energy or feedback back from anybody else. So it's incredibly nerve-wracking. And you're just kind of like, eventually you get through, you're only singing for 90 seconds. So you get through a certain point and you're like, well, it's a good thought. And you're like convinced they're not going to turn around. And so whenever they finally did, it was the most like, I was just so relieved. I was like, okay, so it wasn't awful. Thank God. Yeah, it was really, really cool. It was cool to see their reaction and have the support of them turning around.
Yeah, and it's definitely something different because that's what I noticed with America's Got Talent, because I covered the shit on my pop blog as well. And it was, I remember watching the eventual winner of Brandon Leake's audition, and it was just him, Simon, Sophia, and Howie, with no audience. You're right.
Yeah.
He was very gutsy for what he did.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's super nerve-wracking because I mean they're all like massive superstars. You know, it's not like you're just auditioning for a bunch of people that you know nothing about. So, yeah.
Yeah, and so you chose, even though Gwen did a really good job with the presentation, Kelly picked you for her team. You picked Kelly.
I did. Yeah. I picked Kelly.
So let's go over to the battle rounds because you've tackled another monster of a song, I Love Me from Demi Lovato.
Yeah. Whenever we were told we were doing that song, I was really excited because it's in my wheelhouse, but the girl that I was paired with, it's not in her wheelhouse. She's incredible, but we're just two totally different artists. So I had no idea how we were going to make it like really flow. And so whenever we finally went into rehearsals and kind of came up with a different arrangement, I thought it flowed really nicely. So I was super stoked. I love Demi Lovato. So I was excited to get it.
And then Kelly picked you to advance it in knockouts.
She did, but can I tell you one thing that they did not show on TV? There's so much that they don't actually air, but it was a pretty intense like consult between all four of the coaches, between me and Emily. They couldn't decide, like it was like split half and half. They couldn't decide really who they wanted to put through because even though it's ultimately Kelly's decision, the other coaches give their input, and it's really just a preference on sound. You know, do you want somebody who's going to do like pop rock stuff, or do you want someone who's a little more folk and Americana? So it's not who's better, it's who do you prefer? Who do you want to work with? So Kelly debated for a long time. It was very stressful. I was like, I don't know if it's going to happen. So, but ultimately, yeah, Kelly picked me to go through to knockouts, and it was a heck of a relief for sure.
Absolutely. But then you went to knockouts and you tackled another major one that a lot of people on reality television either do wonderful with it, like Haley Reinhart or Kat Robishoff in season 5. But you tackled You Ought to Know by Alanis. So what did it mean why did you choose that song?
So something that many people may not know is we don't really get to choose whatever song we want at all the whole season. So it's not like they just give us a free pick to be like, whatever song you want to pick, just sing whatever you want. It's the same thing for our initial auditions. They gave us a massive list, and you're working with 80 other artists that are also picking from the same list, and some people pick the same songs, and then the producers decide, oh, you're going to do this one. So I had actually chosen 4 other songs that other people, I had chosen 4 other songs that other people had also chosen that I was competing against, and they got first pick solely because of the way that we went down the line. And they said they wanted something upbeat, and on the list, the only upbeat song that I knew was You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette. And I was like, oh no. And I love that song. I think it's amazing. But the feedback that I had gotten from the coaches prior was, we want to see you really do something massive and knock it out of the park. And I was like, wow, this is a heck of a song. So the one that I'd initially chosen was Celine Dion's version of Anymore, when I was young.
All by myself? Oh boy.
All by myself. That was one that I initially
song.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, this will be amazing, because I really wanted it to be like a massive vocal moment, like what I had felt like. I just like saw this whole vision in my head of what I wanted it to do, but I didn't get to do those songs. So I had to come up with some type of vision for this song, which I love the song, but I'm also just not a really angry person. So I was like, well, okay, we'll see how this works out. And I'd come up with one rendition, and then I got into the one-on-one coaching with Kelly and with Usher, which was super cool that Usher was our mega mentor. That was epic. And one of the things that Kelly had encouraged was to be angrier in the song. She was like, you need to just be like angry. I was like, I can try. And clearly that didn't work out very well because I got cut. But you know, it was a learning experience, and there were a lot of different variables involved than just me picking a song and getting to do my vision. So I know everything happens for a reason, and it worked out the way that it should. And yeah, it was still a really good experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now we know that America's Got Talent and like shows like Big Brother and Dancing with Stars have all-star seasons. I've been begging for The Voice to do an all-star season, and if they did,
cool.
if they did one, would you come back and compete?
I mean, why not? That'd be fun. I mean, if it's an all-star season, that would be really cool. I definitely would have a better idea of what I wanted, and I would probably be more firm in what I wanted, like as an artist, in the songs that I sing and what I get to pick, and the arrangements and all of that. But I mean, yeah, that would be super cool. And hopefully I'd have some friends on it too. That'd be great.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's leave The Voice and let's talk about the challenges that you face staying in the music industry and how have you overcome those obstacles?
You know, there's a lot of challenges. I mean, even just like in life, you know, I think in any career, you're going to face challenges and different things that are hard and discouragement and ups and downs. I would say in music, one of the hardest things for me is just the consistency of work, the consistency of being able to afford it, because full transparency, like as an independent artist, we pay for everything. So you have to find ways to work, whether that's bartending or social media or anything, to be able to fund everything that you're doing. I would say that that's something that a lot of people don't talk about, is you're actually like working to pay for a career until you quote unquote make it, you know? So I would say that's a really big challenge, but also just the challenge of social media and a lot of criticism. You know, it's, you put yourself out there, and you put yourself out there knowing that not everybody's going to like you. But still, we're all human beings and we have feelings and emotions and we're real, even though a lot of people that see us on a screen forget that we're real. So one thing that I really had to learn was to be able to filter through negative comments, people that are just being mean, and take it for what it's worth and learn how to just let it go and move past it. So that's something that I still have to work on every now and then, to be like, oh, I don't even know that person, it's okay. And focus on the people that are positive and supportive and encouraging, and make sure that I'm surrounded by, you know, people that love me and support my music and what I'm doing. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's like the thing is, you need to be able to do all that, be able to conquer. Like I've been around for 13 years, and with the blogging and with 5 years podcasting, and it's a haul.
Yeah. Wait. Say that one more time. I just didn't hear the end of it.
Oh, it's been a haul. It's been a haul.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Anybody that's doing entertainment and entrepreneur, it's a whole lot of work, and there's a lot of behind the scenes that, you know, your audience doesn't see, whether that be editing, working, getting content, just like day-to-day life of being like, gosh, right, I have to eat today. Hold on. You know, it's a consistent hustle. And so anybody that is in our line of work, especially self-employed, I'm like, man, I respect the hustle massively.
Same here, same here. So we got to talk about the stories behind some songs. So I picked out a few, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so let's start with I Can't Say Goodbye. As of this recording, has over 184,000 Spotify streams.
Yeah, so I Can't Say Goodbye is the first song I released a little while after The Voice. It was based around my brother. So not to become super morbid, but my brother took his own life, and that's a part of my story and a big part of my artistry. I stand with mental health and education on mental health. And one of the ways that I was able to process my grief through losing him was through writing. So there was a day that I came home and I was just in my apartment and started playing the piano. And I just started singing what I was thinking and feeling. And it turned into this song. And I was just kind of in awe. It was, you know, well after COVID. And and I had a lot of time to think and process life, which isn't always fun. And it came out in this song. And so I released it this last October in 2022. And it's actually the last single that I released before this past one. But I wanted it to be a song that anybody could relate to that had lost somebody too soon. You know, not necessarily just specific to mental illness. That's what it is to me. But make it to where, you know, if you had a family member pass away unexpectedly, or, you know, if you had your dog pass away unexpectedly, it's anything that means a lot to you if you lost it too soon. So that's really what I dedicated the song for.
And that's incredible, guys. And if you or anyone you know are dealing with a mental health crisis, please dial 988. Once again, 988. There is always help and hope.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I love partnering with all of that, letting people know that they're not alone, that they're wanted, they're needed. Dee Dee Hirsch is actually who I partnered with that funded 988. So it's something I'm very passionate about, and I love that I was able to put out a song that had such a special meaning to me.
All righty, so we're going to move on right now to Look What You Missed, featuring a collaboration with Nico the Owl. And as of this recording, it's 518,000 Spotify streams.
Woo! Look What You Missed is the second song I ever released ever. And in the session, I remember wanting to just create some type of anthem. And Look What You Missed is what came out. I had just gotten out of a really bad relationship and wanted to write a song that was me taking back my power. And so that is what the song is about. It's like, I'm me, I am woman, I'm not defined by you or what you did to me or what's happened to me in the past. So like, check me out now. So really just like an anthem of awesomeness.
That's an amazing anthem. So speaking of which, now they're going to stop as another anthem, but with Nick Elliott at 843,000 Spotify streams.
Yeah. Nick reached out to me. He's a DJ, and we wrote that over Zoom. He's in Texas, and I was in Nashville at the time, and we were like, man, let's just write like a motivational, never stop, do the hustle kind of song. And honestly, it turned out to be really awesome. I love that song.
Awesome. And now finally, you released your version of I Dare You, and it's your most streamed song as of today with 1.2 million Spotify streams.
Yeah. Whenever I got done with The Voice, I got a lot of positive feedback on the YouTube video that The Voice had actually posted on their channel. It went viral, went everywhere. And I was like, I really want to create, like, I want to release my own version of this. So I hit up a friend, and he did a piano track, and I was like, man, well, let's just see what happens. And I released it, and it just popped off, which I'm so grateful for. But it was a fun song to sing. I love it.
Awesome. And now the final song I want to talk to you about is your latest single. I love it. It's After Midnight. It's a fabulous song. So how is After Midnight similar or different from your previous tracks?
Thank you. I'm so glad you like it. It's a fun song. I actually got to write it with a girl named Liz. She wrote for Celine Dion. Craig was the producer on it. I mean, they're amazingly talented people. We wrote it in Canada. And something that I have done on purpose is I've not released a song since I Can't Say Goodbye, which was last October. And I wanted to be very intentional with my artist development and my sound, and not just different collaborations and, just sing this because people say it's cool, or sing this because people say it's cool. And I was like, no, I want to write for me, my song, my sound, like figure out what that sound is. And that's what After Midnight turned out to be, working with the writers and the producer to create this sound of like pop and rock and like a little bit of like soul vocal into it to start to create this Kelsie genre. So it still has a really powerful message, and I'm super grateful that it turned out to be what it is. But I would definitely say it's different because I feel like it's actually me.
Awesome. It's a wonderful song. So that's perfect. So we got to start winding down our conversation. So let's talk about social media. So you have a lot, you have a vast amount. So Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So what is your favorite social media apps to connect with your fans and why?
I would say as far as a connecting point, people engage with me more on Instagram, which surprises me. I don't know why, but because I love TikTok. I think TikTok's super fun and I'm on it all of the time. And there's still like really good communication through there. But for some reason on Instagram, people are more likely to have a conversation with me instead of just commenting and just sharing. It's like actual engagement back and forth or sending me messages. I'm able to connect more with people on there. So I'm not sure why it's like that, but that's just kind of how it is. I do love TikTok a lot though. It's super fun. And the amount of people that are on it is so much larger. So I'm able to connect with people from all across the world, even on a larger scale than on Instagram. But I would say those are my top two favorites for sure.
Awesome. So last question, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
So besides social media, where can the audience find your music, find out more information about you?
So you can find all of my music on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, Deezer, Tidal, really anywhere that you can stream. So yeah, that's where you can find all my music. Social media, TikTok is Kelsie Watts, Facebook is Kelsie Watts, Instagram is Kelsie Watts Music, because Kelsie Watts regular is just taken. So so I added music after it.
Awesome. So guys, have you missed an episode of the Jake Steak with Jacob Elyachar Podcast? This is our channels on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake Steak with Jacob Elyachar, JACOB, Now, are you on social media? I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOB, Now, if you want to find out what's going on with America's Got Talent, what happened during Masked Singer Season 11 USA version, and also my take on Kelsie's music, visit the blog that started all, jakeseshake.com. Once again, jakeseshake.com. Kelsie, it was a privilege having you today. Thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, of course. Thank you for asking me. This has been amazing. I'm so glad to meet you. Now we can be friends and stay in contact. And I will 100,000,000% keep supporting your podcast, the blog, all the things.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kelsie. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great one, everybody. Good